What's up, guys? DrumQuig Podcast, episode 19. I know we just released episode 18. You're already getting episode 19. I'm super excited today because, social media, we talk about how detrimental it can be and how you can get sucked into it. But sometimes you find some really great things and really great people. And in this case, I found Aaron, and Aaron is just an incredible musician. And just welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So going right into it, I didn't want to say Cote or Cody because I didn't want to say it wrong at the beginning of it, but going through it, most of your work is on a steel drum. And that's one of the most unique things you can do in the music scene, I feel like. So getting right into it, like why the steel drum? Like what drew you to that and what makes it, your preferred method at this point?
Okay, so origin story a little bit. I went to school for music. While I was in school, I did a cruise with one of the performing ensembles from Butler University in Indianapolis. And while I was there, I was like, wait, this is a job. There's people playing music on boats in the Caribbean and wherever else. So I decided like that was a dream job. And then I did grad school and I studied classical music and orchestral percussion and everything. And I just did a lot of hitting stuff. I was terrible at steel pan. We had an ensemble at both of the universities I went to, and I could not play steel pan because it's a circle. And we study in percussion, we study linear. Basically it's everything's linear. Guitar's linear, piano's linear, marimba, glockenspiel, chimes, even though they're vertical, they're linear. Everything's kind of in a row. Timpani, they're in a row. And so when you get a steel pan in front of you, it's not. And there are different layouts of steel pans. And I started out at Butler. We did a thing where the freshmen would play kind of the pans with the largest notes, the good, easy targets, right?
Yeah.
So bass pans, and I played a set of 6 bass pans, and that was my first experience with it. And it was really cool, but it was not easy, right? For me, it was easy for other people, not easy for me.
Yeah.
And then after that, you move up to cello pans and then double cello guitar, double seconds, and then eventually leads. And I just couldn't play. It was like we would do 2 songs a semester in the concert and I would fake half the notes. But I went to school for music. Like this was this is my day job is music, right? And so just being terrible at something and knowing that I want to play orchestral music or whatever. And so it was such a cool exposure to a culture and to learn about Trinidad and Tobago and Caribbean culture and how a steel band works and get experience outside of the music scene that I thought I was going to go into. We percussionists learn a lot of things in school. And so you learn marimba, timpani, drum set, orchestral excerpts, switching, snare, all those things. And this was just one extra thing. And so I did study a lot of hand drumming and other Caribbean music. But I was just so bad. And then I got to teach a class on steel pans while I was there, which was interesting. We had like a community arts program. And so I was able to understand and talk to students about simple steel pan compositions and structures and everything, but we weren't playing panorama by any means. And we were reading off lead sheets sometimes, and sometimes we had orchestrations, and it was a really great time to learn something that I thought I was never going to do. And so I was on a cruise ship, and this is kind of back to the question. I'm seeing this career, and I'm like, I could play drums on a cruise ship. And so I got out of grad school, went on a website and was just like, I want to play drums on cruise lines, and I sent in an audition. They send you a packet of music, you read it on screen, and they decide, are you good enough to play in this band or that band or the other band or not at all? And I got a call, like I must have sent my package back to them, like the tape DVD. I guess it was a DVD. This was more than 15 years ago now. But I sent them back my sight reading packet, and I got a call the next day. And they were like, you're going to Italy next week. And I was like, what? And I did. I quit everything. I just like stopped working, just told everybody I knew, like, hey, thanks for being in my life. I'll see you when I come home, Went
Bon
to Italy,
voyage.
played. Yeah. Went to Italy, played around the Mediterranean on a ship. It was Holland America Line. Had a really nice time, and we crossed the ocean, came back to the Caribbean in the boat, in the ship, and then I was in the islands again, and I was like, "Hey, this is cool." And the guy that was playing steel pan on the boat ship was retiring, and he said, "Hey, I think you should learn how to do this." And I was like, "No, sir. I already know how to not do that. I know I'm not good at that, so I'm not gonna do that. I have a job playing drums on ships." And it was like a big, like, to me, I was like, "This is the best part of my career. I'm never gonna change." And, there's all kinds of people you work with that you can't please and all that stuff, and you end up deciding, hey, this was a really good thing to have done. And so I did buy his steel pans because he was retiring. And I went from playing 5 hours a night on boats, ships. I'm going to stop correcting myself on that. You get it.
Listen, if
Uh,
anybody, any naval people come on and are commenting on this video because of boat versus ship, we are winning. We are
oh yeah,
winning.
that's right. Good point. Yeah, so I got home after 5 months playing. We played 141 days straight, and
Whoa.
every night, 5 hours a night. And then there was a drummer we left in Portugal. There was a drummer playing, and he didn't make it back to the ship on time, and we just left him there. And they said, "Hey, you're in all the bands now." And I had to work the lounge band and the show band. And I honestly, it was really cool. I had a lot of fun. He did not come back. They did not replace him for several weeks. And I had to do just all the work on the ship. Every time there was a drummer, I played with like guest entertainers, and there was some like, there's this Canadian brass band with, I don't know, it was cool. Like I got to do a lot of fun stuff. And when I finished the contract, I came back to Rhode Island, which is where I grew up. It's where I live now. And it was January, and Rhode Island is not the Caribbean.
No.
And I froze. So I was like, well, I play for 5 hours a day, and I have this tropical piece of metal now that I can hang out with. And I just locked into my practice routine, just like I had done in college. Like you practice for a lot of hours a day, you keep trying to get better. When you're bad at something, you run it and you run it and you run it. And so what I did was I took that time in the winter when I had no gigs lined up, and I had finished a contract, and I had a new instrument, and I studied like I was in college, but also spent the time that I was working on already. And I learned the standard rep. And after 90 days, I got my first gig. So 5 hours a day for 90 days, I played a 1 hour gig at an old folks home. Love those places. And that's my future, right? Played, bossas and jazz tunes and Latin tunes and some Buffett tunes and Marley tunes and just anything that had any kind of linked up sound association with steel pan. I had so much fun, and they loved it, and I was terrible. So, I just kept working at it. And so, like I said, we're like 15 years later almost. I probably started playing in 2011. Yes. No, I started in 2012. So 14 years, I think. That was step one, was get your hands on an instrument and then grind. Just work hard at doing stuff you can't do. And then from there, just developed where I wanted the music to go. So the first thing, do you want to ask other questions? I keep going.
Dude, just keep going. I love this. This is what I was
Just keep
talking
going.
about.
Okay.
Like, just keep going.
And the thing is, like, I know that there are people out there that are like, how can I start? And step one, get your hands on the instrument, right? So actually, in case people fall out of this watching this episode, let's talk about that for a second. Is that cool?
Yeah,
About
go for
Okay,
it.
so get your hands on an instrument. If you have Facebook, there's something called Facebook Marketplace. It's called the Steel Pan slash Drum Marketplace, I think. There's like a group, and they have pans pop up all the time. So if you're looking for a steel pan, that's a great place to look for used pans. Ellie Minette made my steel pans, and they're like a pro level. I bought them used, but they were really nice. They're a little expensive. That's totally, you get what you pay
That's
for, and I
musicians.
love them, and they're great. Yeah, yeah. So, and then there are pans being made. And for those of you who don't know who Ellie Minette is, which is, I mean, if you don't have a lot of steel pan following, I'll just say Minette passed on, but he was one of the people there at the advent of the instrument. So in around 1940, they were developing this thing and figuring out how to make the notes happen and all that. And Ellie Minette from Minette Instruments was one of the people that was there. He was a youth back then. And then he spent his entire life just making steel pan, I'm going to say better, spending time extending the range of the instrument. And at that time, what they were trying to figure out was not just how to play calypso and developing soca and everything, but in Trinidad and Tobago, they were saying, we have this available material. The ships left and the oil yard was there. They were like, here we have all this metal and we're going to play with sticks on this thing. And as they developed that, they figured out, hey, we could make this into an orchestra. And so the goal was, let's make orchestral music. And so they were playing things like Beethoven and Bach and Wagner and whatever else. And as they did that, there was pop music as well. And so steel pan became kind of like, what can we do with this? And
Mhm.
if you look at the orchestra, you have the low range, the mid range, the high range. And so there's bass pans, like I mentioned earlier, and cello pans, which I mentioned earlier. These are just orchestral names. The guitar range of pan kind of fulfills the guitar's role. And what we might call the lead pan or the tenor pan is what it's officially called, was the high voice. And so in the orchestra, everyone had a role. And that's where you get panorama. You still have those functions of each instrument. And so panorama in Trinidad and Tobago during Carnival, it's going on right now actually, is a big competition. And you can see all of those large bands, medium bands, and small bands play together, and extend again. They're still continuing to break down the barriers of where can steel pan go and what can we do with it. And so they recycled this metal into their culture and their export and everything. And so it's really cool. Ellie Manette was there, and Andy Narell's dad. I know. I'll circle back. I'll keep going back.
Love it.
This is just one run-on sentence. This whole conversation.
That's a
Ellie Manette was
panorama.
there. Yeah. So nice. And what happened was Andy Narell's father had, I think it was a program in New York where he said, hey, can you come in and build some pans for us? And he did. And then he said, can you stay? And Manette started, or Manette, depending on who's saying his last name. There's so many cultural things that I'm just going to do wrong. But mad respect to the culture, and I'm happy to represent and be a part of that from my own little corner of the world. And so he continued to stay in the US and he continued to develop steel pan and try to figure out what was next and how to make the tuning better and the layout better and the construction more quality. And that's not to take anything away from Trinidad. That's like, we're in a developing process where we're still looking at an instrument saying, what's new? What can we do that's new? And so he ended up at West Virginia University, WVU, in
Mhm.
Morgantown. And they started a school where they taught other people how to build. And so their company still operates out of Morgantown. The only tuner that I've used pretty much, if he was available since I started, was Chandler Bailey. He was an apprentice. And if you go online, if you go on social media and you look up Chandler Bailey, you will find my account and you will see that he has been viewed tuning a purple steel pan something like 16 million times already. People, like, that many views on this guy just hammering away at a steel pan that was in a community program in Rhode Island. It's just going clang, 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 and like just hammering away. And he's just a master at his skill because he apprenticed with Dr. Minette for, I think, 27 years. I mean, after a certain point, you're
Wow.
not an apprentice anymore, probably, but he was lifelong student. He was there in Morgantown when the program was starting off in the 90s, I believe. And so Minette Instruments, or Manette Instruments, is still operating, and Chandler has his own company now called CB Panworks, and he still tunes for me. I talked to him this week. He's coast to coast tuner. He'll pretty much go anywhere. If you need a tuning, find out when he's in your town. I get him twice a year. So we've got a great relationship, and I really respect his art as a builder and tuner, and hopefully I'll be getting another pen from him at some point to extend my range, because I've been playing a lead tenor pan or a spider web fourths and fifths pan. It's all these different names for it, which you can buy at Manette Instruments, I think .com. It's in the professional series, and you can see the layout. It kind of looks like this. You can see the layout of the steel pan with all the notes written in on their website. And then the other company that I'll just mention, I have no relationship with them, but I know that they are shipping and building regularly. A little bit it's funny, if you go on the Mitco website, it's Musical Instruments of Trinidad and Tobago Company. I
Yeah.
think is what it's called. They have something about like trying to get a steel pan in every home, which is kind of like how we treated pianos or guitars,
Sure.
in our culture. We just want a steel pan in every home so that everyone has access to this beautiful instrument and sound. And um, anyway, so Mitco has pans they're building, shipping, and delivering as well. But if you go on their website, they're listed at price that does not translate in my mind because they're in Trinidad TT dollars, Trinidad and Tobago dollars, which is apparently like 6 times the the number that it would translate to. So, you go on one website and you're like, "Oh man, 5,000 is a lot or 4,500 is a lot," right? And then you go on theirs and it says like 11,000 something and it's like but it actually translates to around 17 or 1,800.
Big,
So, I've
big
been
difference. Big difference.
yeah, like and unless you get the gold-plated pan, they have a gold-plated pan that I think they said somebody told me, one of their artists told me, like, that I think they've only made, like, 2 or 3 of them ever.
Yeah, I
But
can imagine
anyways,
why.
yeah, so you can get pans from Mitco or from Manette Instruments, or there's other builders that I could name, but I only have a relationship with Chandler pretty much, but I'm not trying to sell for anybody. I'm trying to get everybody deserves a steel pan in their life. That's what I'm saying.
It's amazing though, because 15 years ago, you would have never said that. You wouldn't have said, like, had that mindset, like, because not everybody can have a drum set in the home. Like, I've never had a drum
Right.
set in the house. And it's been one of those things where if I did, I'd be living on the street because I would drive everybody else out. Steel pan just brings a different, and I know I called it a steel drum earlier, and I don't know if that's a source of
Oh, that's
contention in the
okay.
community or not. So I was like, uh-oh. I was like,
I use
don't
steel
ship.
pan because yeah, that's exactly, right? I use steel pan because that's what I've heard it called within the culture that created it. So, out of respect for the original steel pan creators, I call it steel pan. But I think in America, it's pretty well known as steel drum, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not offensive either, right?
Yeah.
Want to make sure that I'm using the correct terminology. I've been blessed with the ability to continue using this as my main method of employment and everything, and I don't want anybody to be upset at me.
Don't ruffle any feathers, but I'd be remiss. You even pointed out the shirt. I've been staring at it for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to know about the shirt because clearly it's
Okay.
steel drum related, especially when you even said, like, it looks like this. So I got to know
Yeah.
about the shirt.
This is the inside of a steel pan, right? And Jordan Morrison Music is where you can get this shirt. He actually just
Sweet.
wrote a book of etudes for steel pan that kind of help you develop your skills of, and I'm going to talk about why in a second. But the t-shirts are from his steel pan merch store. So big up, shout out to Jordan Morrison Music. Definitely check out that. He's got so many things that you can get from that store. I have another shirt. I just thought this one was appropriate specifically, but I have another one with the family of steel pans. So it shows like the guitar pans and everything that we were talking about. But yeah, as far as the book, I want to mention this because I'll be doing a video about this at some point soon. I have been playing for kind of a long time now, and I play a lot of really hard stuff that's not what I thought I'd ever play.
Hmm.
And I find myself hitting some walls every once in a while. And his book talks about things that you can do to even out your hands or to choose the correct stickings and so the etudes are meant just like any other etude book when you're learning how to play an instrument. They're kind of they're good for beginners that can read, I would say, like read music. And they're also good for professionals who think that they're good because they will, the book shows you how you're terrible at playing a tin can. That's what so Jordan's book talks about things like playing evenly inside the octaves. So this is one of the reasons I wear this shirt today. Big notes, lower notes, inside circle, smaller notes. I'm like looking at the screen trying to do this. Smaller notes, higher notes. Smallest notes are the highest notes. So there's and I just had a conversation with somebody about this who was saying like, "Hey, I'm having a hard time getting these notes to sound." And we were talking just on chat in the Instagram. And I was saying things like, "Oh yeah, just like hold the mallet." I brought props. Hold the mallet. the mallet, and like a little bit of more of a velocity, a whipping motion. When you hit, you want to use hard tips, and the bamboo mallets that I use, which are not even available anywhere. Good luck. You can't get bamboo mallets. They're just so hard to come by. And if anybody knows how to make bamboo mallets, I'm looking for mallet sponsorships. This is what this show is for. So you take an approach of trying to use a light porous mallet with a stick. By the way, steel pan uses sticks. Steel drums use mallets, right? No. So pan sticks. And in America, we're trained to say anything that has this type of let's see. There you go. This
That
type of
protruding
tip.
end,
Yeah.
which is
Went to
weird
a
because
school where what do you, oh yeah, no, that's a
not
stick.
that's a stick, but it's still the same concept. Like it has that protruding part. It's just
Yeah.
anyway.
So, I was talking about like the smaller the notes are, the more velocity it takes to get them to vibrate. This is my vibration, right? So, large vibration, kind of like a timpani, a floor tom, or something like that, gong, versus a splash cymbal.
I mean,
Something with a
that's a
smaller
perfect
vi. Yeah.
analogy.
So you got to kind of like hit a little bit more whippy, and rather than you do rolls, and on the larger notes you're kind of just doing like a timpani with like a single stroke roll, versus you get on the higher notes, and you're just like it's percussion, right?
Yeah,
We talk percussion. So his book will talk about how to get in a consistent from the outside to the inside notes and things like that. It touches a number of topics, and what I've found for my students is it's really cool if you go through more than one topic rather than a full page. If you go through one topic per segment of the lesson, and then the next week you come back and you do the second line or whatever. And so it's been teaching me, and I'm still learning, right? I'm still a learner at this instrument, at
absolutely.
music, and I'm trying to just figure out like new ways to get past where I'm at. And sometimes that's playing bebop, and sometimes that's playing punk rock, and sometimes it's playing harmonies that I wouldn't play on my instrument normally. Sometimes it's trying to play smoothly or sweetly or whatever. Sometimes it's playing angsty, or I can't tell you the number of songs that I've transcribed recently that were just like a guy screaming and me trying to figure out where the notes are. And I'm like isolating the voice in like technology, and then like looping one note. So it's just like one guy that's just like, and I'm like, okay, what pitch was that? And then so I cycle it, and it's like, and then you find like, okay, and I'm like trying to figure out the pitch of the steel pan, and like that. This is why I had water. It's because I knew I'd be screaming on camera. Anyway, so like trying to figure out how to do people's requests, and I do want to talk a little bit. So we were talking about how this was going to go today, and like following the conversation and everything. I do want to talk about who I'm playing for, why I'm playing for them, how they react.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, you said bebop earlier, and I thought of anime, not bebop. So I got kind of excited. I'm like, did you do the seatbelts and I just missed it?
No,
You're like, no.
no. I play bebop and rocksteady. I am not a Ninja Turtles villain.
Wow.
So yeah, no. I've thought about like different things that when I say these, I'm like bebop. People are like, "What's bebop?" And I'm like, "Jazz." And people are like, "What's jazz?"
An
But
assault
yeah,
on the musical senses is what we have so aptly that is why metal people love jazz. Like that is why it happens because it is an assault on the musical senses and you don't know how to interpret it. So your brain just puts it all together. And that's exactly what it is.
yeah,
Like I love jazz. I'm like somebody who loves jazz and metal. It doesn't equate. Like it should not work, but it's literally the same exact thing. And that's
right.
not like it's not talking down on anybody's musicianship or anything. It is literally the same thing. You listen to some of that old Buddy Rich, the Gene Krupa, you listen to some of the drum parts and you're like, what in the world is happening right now? And the trumpets are going and everything's just an assault. It is an assault of your musical sense.
Well, and so like there was, I guess, knowing the background I came from, it's like I remember doing jazz ensembles and everything, and while I was growing up and playing jazz gigs, like one of the places where you turn when you get out of school. You're like, well, how do I get gigs? Well, I'm going to go play jazz clubs or whatever. I'm going to go play
Yeah.
jazz at weddings, whatever. And first of all, I want to say, of course, yeah, do your time. Also, what are you doing differently than the next guy?
Yeah.
Because if you're not unique, like everyone has a voice, find your voice. That's really what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say you're not as good as somebody. I'm just trying to say like go be yourself. And I think that's something that like I play with this band, the Island Time Steel Band, and we both bring our own voice. Not that we don't have more than two people. We
Yeah.
do a lot of duo shows. We both bring our own voice. We're the pan players in the group, and Greg and I will each bring a song. Like I've been sending him songs all week because I'm getting ready for this show, and I'm just like, oh hey, I want to play this song at this show that's on Saturday. And so I'm like trying to figure out a way to get ready to play a song I've never played before, which honestly is what I do every single day on Instagram. So whatever, just playing songs I've never played before and trying to figure out what songs speak to me and why. And also trying to balance when I play bebop, like, so I played Dahoud by Clifford Brown on Instagram and just absolutely months of practice to just get that like 20-second clip, right? And then I did ornithology recently, trying to make sure that I could keep up with that because it's been a couple months since I've released a bebop chart. But I do a ton of reggae and we do music from Trinidad and Tobago. So we do like the modern soca. And we're not just doing, I think people think or used to think, I've definitely worked on changing this. I know that everybody's working on changing this. Robbie Greenwich from Jimmy Buffett's band is an amazing steel pan player, absolutely represents the culture well. And Jimmy Buffett did a really great job saying, hey, I'm going to sell my hobby, which is sitting on a beach and drinking in sandals. And that's what he did. He sold that and everybody bought into it because they're like, I want that for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm playing an instrument that I probably was exposed to in some part from that. We can play Jimmy Buffett. People want Bob Marley. Everyone thinks that steel pan is in reggae. And I think I've been making a playlist for my own enjoyment of like where is the steel pan in reggae? It's not that frequent.
No.
So everyone wants to hear Bob Marley, Jimmy Buffett, the Beatles, and that's what I thought everyone wanted to hear for the longest. That's what I played at my first gig.
Yeah.
And Belafonte, that's the other one. It's all the B's.
All the
Bob,
bees.
Beatles, Buffett, Belafonte. And
One of these things is not like the other.
yeah. So I'm at a point where I'm like, what do I want to hear? Well, I don't know. And the audience has been helping me define that because there were some things that they heard. So I played I Kamosi and did a song called World of Reggae. And that's what's sampled in Damian Marley's Welcome to Jamrock. If you know that song,
Mm-hmm.
Damian Marley is Bob Marley's kid.
What?
Famous song. It's had a fame. Yeah, I know. He's Jamaican. So Jamaican, not where steel pan comes from though. Jamaica, not where steel pan comes from. So I played this song and people were like, wait, you can do what? And that's where kind of Instagram blew up for me. And TikTok. I don't really use TikTok almost ever, but that was a moment for me where I was like, wait, people like something that I did that wasn't what I was supposed to do, right? And so I just
Mm-hmm.
continued doing what the music I like because I love that song. And I did a mashup of the original artist meets the artist who sampled it, and so that was a really cool thing that people reacted to in a really positive way. And that taught me not only to find my unique voice and whatever and play like me and whatever. I do a lot of flams when I'm playing because vocal
Because
pitches don't
flams.
actually, yeah, rudimental steel pan. Vocal pitches don't stay on one note often.
Mm-mm.
And I'm saying this not to mess with vocalists because you work really hard at trying to get that note. But I've been doing like Green Day for the last week and Billy just kind of like hits a pitch and then goes somewhere with it.
Yep.
And so that's kind of where the flams come in, and people actually do ask me about it on a regular basis. So that's been part of my voice is finding out how to be the vocalists, and it's been a lot of fun I mean, I've been doing that for years, just trying to figure out how to be the singer that how to emulate the singer that I'm covering. So
I think you're
that's,
doing it
yeah,
a
go ahead.
service. Like you're doing it a service at that point. Like you're not just like, I'm going to take this and make it my own and just play what works. I wanted to reflect and kind of embody what was there, but still have my own, like you said, your own voice.
Right. Yeah, it's my voice, it's also the voice of the artist. It's trying to just make the steel pan have a bridge. And that's the other thing is like the so I was mentioning like the audience is I get a lot of questions about where can I get a steel pan? How can I get a steel pan? And I talk to people about that. We already talked about that. And then I get a lot of questions about like um the material that I play. Oh, if you can play this, can you play this? And so I have a list right now, a request list of 700 plus songs that people I've just compiled over the last couple months, I guess since April.
Wow.
And people were saying like anytime I release a video. So someone will say, play this song and I'll do it. I'll try to do it. And then as soon as I release the video, 10, 20, 30 more requests come in that day. And it's just like,
Wow.
okay, well, I guess there's a demand. So as much as I'm trying to find my own voice, I'm also trying to play for the people. And one of my teachers that I'm still studying music, right? Like I'm a full-time musician professional, but I still every once in a while will take a lesson with somebody. And so this producer that I've been studying with, Victor Rice, he's like a reggae and ska and adjacent music producer, has been teaching me. And one of the things that he says is you're a public servant, right? As a musician, you're a public servant. You want to make money in music, you got to play what the people want. And also
Yep.
there's a nostalgic connection for people. So as much as we all want to be an artist, and I do that too, I release original music. You don't see a ton of it on Instagram, but it's there, it's out. I have more than one band. Uh, and I play my own ideas a lot. And I sing from the drum set sometimes. Not well, but it happens. The Sunshine Melodies, that's where I play drum set and the Copacetics. So, and I sub in with other bands. There. This is what this show is for, right? You tell people where you play.
Yeah. That's exactly what you want. We want.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
So and I should say right now, I'm playing at Supernova International Ska Festival because of things like that Streetlight Manifesto video that I'm pretty sure that where you found me, I did some ska and the ska community liked it a lot. And they, the Tim, who I've actually known for years, said, will you come play steel pan at the festival? And yes. So please come to Supernova, come see amazing bands. I will be playing some ska and reggae. I love Hepcat. I'm gonna play Hepcat. Like
Yeah.
that's I'm but I'll do a lot of
I'm
different
gonna
stuff.
play it. Yeah. I'm gonna play it.
You can request anything you want. I'm gonna play Hepcat. Uh that's where my heart resides for that festival. But no, there's a lot of great stuff. Uh
When is the festival?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, also where? So Supernova Sky Festival is in Virginia at Fort Monroe in Hampton, Virginia. And the festival is actually September. I'm playing the opening, like, there's a charity event on the 11th. And then the main event, the main festival is September 12th and 13th. And I'll be playing in and around the festival. Like, I'll be playing at the gates and stuff like that when they open. Then there's some other
Sweet.
smaller tents. I'll just be kind of popping up with a steel pan and playing with whoever. If you're a band that's playing Supernova and you want me to play with you, let's talk. Anyway, so I'm just going to be available. I'm
I
going to be
love it.
playing. There's going to be good music for 3 days. So that's a big thing. The other stuff, I don't know when the episode comes out. I've got a couple gigs on Saturday, but it's in Rhode Island. It
Yeah.
just find me. Oh, by the way, at Cody Percussion on Instagram, which is where I do everything, and TikTok, and then on YouTube where I don't post anything anymore. But everything I do, it's all on Instagram at Cody Percussion, COTE Percussion. And then on Facebook, it's actually linked to Panoramic View Steel Drums. I do use the steel drums there because I have an American audience too. And so that's where people can find me online. But anyway, we were talking about the audience.
Yeah.
People matter, and people are looking for a way to cope. And so the formula I've been using is nostalgia plus tropical sunshine equals coping mechanism. And I think that's why people watch my videos. And they can be reggae videos. They can be, what's that one I did on the beach recently? Well, not recently, but released recently. December night. Oh, what a night.
Mhm.
Frankie Valley. People are eating that video up, and I threw that as like a Hail Mary pass. I was like, I don't have anything to post today, but I've been trying to do a daily post. So I'm 70 something days, 77 days in right now on daily content on Steel Pan. And that was a day
Nice.
I almost missed. And that video is, I'm gonna say, gonna hit 1 million within the next 12 hours.
Wow.
That's I've just been kind of like watching it slowly inch up.
Yeah, those are
So
the
anyway,
moments where you're like,
yeah,
okay, well,
like
yeah,
how did
like,
that happen? So the people matter, and they need what they are nostalgically connected to. And so like for the people that like ska, there's ska videos, and for the people that like punk, there's No Effects and Green Day and stuff that you're not supposed to play on Steel Pan. And then I got to Fugazi. And oh my goodness, did I make people angry. And not like people from the culture of Steel Pan, but like, how dare you play music I like and make me happy? And I'm actually like asking them, I'm like, oh, if you hated it so much, why did you share it? And they're saying, well, I hated that I liked it. That's the answer
that
I'm getting now, is
rational.
like, I
That is
hated that I liked it.
rational. Rational for sure.
So, but it's so cool because like all I wanted to do is provide you with something that you already like, and then give you hope at the same time. Like just a, it's winter, it's dark. I want you to have some sunshine in your life. That's what I'm saying, right? And so they're, they're getting to a point where it, take it or leave it. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. If you only want to hear soca, just watch the soca videos. And if you only want to hear reggae, just watch the reggae videos. But the idea is, can I make anybody happy from my home? I want to spread happiness into the internet and let people enjoy themselves. And hopefully that's happening. I know it's happening because I hear about, like, they actually messaged me about it. So that's something I did want to
I mean,
touch on.
that's amazing, and it's all I can think of is that, like, obviously, I was introduced to steel pans, like, the music was there. You didn't go out on a Friday night and see a band playing with a steel pan in Florida, like, maybe South Florida, maybe the Keys. You didn't run into that
Yeah.
stuff, and one of my friend's bands was Johnny Cakes and the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypso. They haven't been a band for 13 years, but I'm sure Drew and everybody else will love this. But their lead singer played a steel pan, and it was like their genre was listed as gutter calypso.
I love that.
And
That's
I
so cool.
remember seeing it in person and just being, even as a drummer, knowing what it looks like, knowing what is going on, but hearing it live was a completely different experience. And you're right. It kind of did give you that feeling of like, wow, okay. Like it's just such a calming thing. A drum solo for people who don't like drums is a lot of noise.
Right.
A drum solo for
Yeah.
drummers is everybody shut up and just let me focus, or we all know it's coming. Like, well, like, oh, it's building, oh, it's building. Yeah, here it comes. But the steel pan, just the calming effects that come with it. I think you've really touched base on that, and you've made it into something. I'm not saying you're the person doing it, but your voice
Right.
has done it. I don't want to take. I don't want somebody to come on here and be like, he didn't do it.
No, there's so many amazing artists that like, and I mean, right now I'm doing covers because that's what people are asking for, but like there's so many amazing artists that are just giving people hope around the world, whether they're a steel pan artist or not. But the steel pan thing, obviously, we already talked about Ellie Minette and mentioned Andy Narell, and like there's people, Bootsy Sharp and Victor Provost. Like there's just Othello Molyneux was brought up recently when someone told me I can't play like him, and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not trying to play like him. He has his voice. He was the guy that played with Jaco Pastorius on like The Chicken and stuff like that. So, like, yeah, of course, he's a different player than I am, and that's great. And you know what? I learned his song too because I didn't do a video of it recently, but like because I want to make sure that I know what that history is, and it's important to me to know who the other players are. And I do Bugsy songs with live bands. I haven't put up a Bugsy video either, and I do Narelle things on my solo gigs, and I haven't put up well, maybe I did one Narelle tune on a video. But like these are all things like we learn. So I learned like the history and the culture and the heritage, and I also am doing like music I grew up with and stuff like that. And so it's been a game changer for me. I don't even play everything on a live show. Like I've never played a steel pan no effects cover live, I don't think. That's a new thing. But like I played it online, and I got it, I got in touch with no effects. That was cool. Like, No Effects was watching my video, and I was like, "Hey." Like, Smelly, the drummer, and I were, like, messaging back and forth. It's crazy. The music I was Punk and Drublic came out in what, like, 94 or something like that? I don't even the early 90s, I was too young to know what years were. That album was something I listened
94.
to
Yeah.
almost every day. 94? Okay. And then check, Dookie, the Green Day album I'm covering right now. I think that's a 94 as well. And
I want to
then
say it was 95, but I'm not gonna
it
argue
was
that.
I think it was radio release 94, and
94?
then, like, yeah. And so, like, I was 8 when that album came out. I remember sitting on my friend's deck with a boombox that we must have taken from his brother's room, and because, like, I didn't even own a CD player when I was that young, and CDs were, like, I literally actually, I don't when I was 8, I didn't own a CD at all. Like, I did not even we had tapes and 8 tracks back then. They were also tapes for you kids, and just different shape. So, the spinny disc, what we just would put it in the boombox, and I would just play with, like, literally sticks I found on the ground or whatever. Like, I didn't even own drumsticks, and Trey Cool was an inspiration to me, and I didn't even really think about that for years. And
Yeah.
now I'm playing through Dookie right now because it just had an anniversary, and I was playing Welcome to Paradise because it was, I was like, "Paradise, that's Steel Pan, right?" And
Yeah,
then
right.
Trey Cool shared it, and Trey Cool shared Welcome to Paradise, and I was like, "Oh, hey, wait a minute. Wait, you are what?
Time out.
Like, you're playing the Super Bowl pregame show, and I hit a oil can with sticks, and you listened to me play your song, and you liked it enough to share it." And that's where I'm at right now, and it's surreal. The amount of outpouring of love and support from the artists I'm covering. Like, I have heard from, like, I've done stuff with some of the guys from Stick Figure, just like, "Hey, can you play our song? Here's a thing." "Yes, I will play your song."
Yeah,
When it's an artist that I
I guess so. I
like
guess
know
so.
and love, and then the collabs, I'm like, again, with the Hail Mary passes, just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Like, I've been on if you go on Instagram on, like, the Real Big Fish page and you scroll back to, I think, November, like, I'm on the Real Big Fish page, which is crazy to me. Sublime shared a reel that I did. I covered Sublime, and Sublime shared it. Now I know that this is a different Sublime. But, these are bands I literally, I grew up listening to, and, like, Ianai Kamosi and Black Uhuru and, like, Inner Circle, the song that goes, "A la 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 la, a la 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 la
Mhm.
la la," what you know that song? Yeah, yeah, with la la la. That song, I did that with Island Time Steel Band, and, like, we put up a video, and Inner Circle was like, "Accept." Like, and so for, we're just, like, on these pages now, and it's because everybody loves Steel Pan, and that's the point. I'm not saying, like, anything, like, I don't it's not me.
It's not me, it's what I
Everybody
do.
everybody yeah, no, everybody loves the sound of steel pan, and I think what it's doing for the artists, is they're hearing somebody reimagine their emotions from when they were in their youth, and
Yeah.
again, it's the nostalgia, and then they're going, "Alright, this is my art," but then it got, like, tropicaled up. We, like, upcycled it to now it feels even better. So it still has all the passion and all the intensity and all of the experience, but, like, let's admit that, like, probably some of the guys that were writing these songs about how hard life was probably have, like, a slightly better life now that they're super famous and maybe rich.
Yeah.
And so I think what this is doing is it's, like, repurposing their song to a new I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm just spitballing.
Introducing
If
him
they
to a
ever
new
watch
audience.
this yeah, if they ever watch this, they're gonna be like, "That's not it at all, you jerk." No. I don't know. I'm
Well,
having fun, and I think they think it's fun too.
that's the important thing, and I think that's a like, explanation of what you did and, like, who you've interacted with. I think that was a perfect place just to be like, "Listen, I'm doing this for fun." I talk about this, I've talked about on the show, like, some of the people I've had on the show are, like, drummers I look up to, and I'm like,
Mm.
"Why did you say yes?" Like, it was
Yeah.
that easy, and I mean
Right?
that in the best way possible, and, I always bring up, Alex Petropoulos from Pigeons Playing Ping Pong, and Alex, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, probably did, but, saw him a couple times, literally had an interaction where we like locked eyes and I made a joke about throwing a poster so he would sign it. And he was like, no, I'll come down. And I was like,
Mm,
okay. And he came down and we talked. And a few days later, I was like, hey, so I have this podcast, something he's probably heard many a time.
right.
And yeah, ended up having him on the show. And he was like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. And I'm like, okay. Derek Waddy, who's somebody metal guy that I saw in a drum clinic, 15, 16 years ago at this point. I think it was 2010. Had no interactions with him other than like random likes, things like that. He came on the
Yeah.
show. And the show isn't just about like, let's see how big we can get. It's get interesting people who have a story to tell. And I think that was one of the things I kind of gathered immediately from watching your videos. It wasn't, look, he has 77,000 followers. You brought it up and I double checked it earlier. It was literally like
I'm like, I don't know.
watching how much fun you're having because you're not just playing, like you have the outfits to match, like you have like the cadence to go with it, and like you have fun with it. And I think that's what we need
Yeah.
more of, like the musicians having fun. And you're really bringing that positive energy in a time where some people may really need it. And I say
Yeah.
really need it, but they do really need it. And so I think
Right.
everything you're doing like is fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's me playing for me, but it's me playing for everybody. Like there are people that have my musical taste and people that don't, but there's some kind of like shock and awe factor as well where they're like, "Wait, you did what?" Like people expect Bob Marley. There's this one guy, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but he has a very spread out, diverse background. So I think he's Puerto Rican and raised in Venezuela and lives in Florida. But he had commented on something that I played, and I
Mhm.
checked out his profile, and I think his name is Alamonia. I don't know what that like how to pronounce that or anything, but again, like I don't know. People don't know how to say Cody, and it's Cody, but it doesn't matter. It's I listened to his music. He had music online, and he had dropped a single. I think I got his comment at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he had dropped a single at midnight. So I was one of the first people to hear his new song, right, on the streaming site. And by 10 a.m. or something like that, I had covered it and tagged him in it, and I was like, just so you know, I'm paying attention. He like commented, and within 12 hours, I had covered his brand new single. And like that was fun for me, right? It was
Yeah,
like a silly thing to do. And, I did an entire Boston's album on Reels, like
I did see that.
not yeah, like, an album that I grew up with that probably introduced me to a lot of ska. I've done a lot of the Hellcat Give 'em the Boot sampler from 1990s, I believe.
Mm,
Could be 97. I don't know. That was a big year. And, like, that's where I was introduced probably to Rancid, because that Tim Armstrong, like, ran that label, and, that was, I think, the first time I heard the Scatolites, and which is a band that, like, we've opened for numerous times. I sat in with them once on Steel Pan, just, like,
amazing.
the ability to, like, take an album that I put my hands on, put my ears on when I was 10 years old, and then not know that I was gonna be a steel pan player. At that age, not even know, like, that touring bands did what they do. Like, I remember going to a Boston show and thinking I was so young, and my brother took me. I was so young that I thought that the rush hour traffic was just all going to that show. I remember being in Providence going, "Are all these people going to see the Mighty Bosstones today?" And my brother was like, "No, this happens every day." And then we went to see the Bosstones, and I was like, "And that was the only time they've played in Providence?" And he's like, "No, they come here like twice a year." But I didn't know, and so I've seen them like 12 or 15 times now, and like they don't play right now. That's a different thing. But
Yeah,
my childhood self was like, this is music that I love, and my adult self is like, I'm still a child.
yep,
So I get to play the music that I loved then because I still love it now, and now there's just more music and I've had more time to enjoy it. And now I'm doing this Green Day thing, realizing how much influence they had on me, and playing
yeah.
through this album and going, wow, this song is something that's been in my head since I was 8, and I'm so many years old now. I just pulled a Craig Ferguson where you just cover your mouth and say things so we can edit the timeline later. But yeah, so like listening to this album and thinking like I didn't know I was going to be a drummer at that point. I didn't know that I was going to play music. And now I'm diving into the music going, what are the vocal harmonies? Like I'm a drummer going, what are the vocal harmonies? And
Said no
how
drummer
come
ever.
I know. How come I want to play thirds as my interval, but they're doing seconds and fourths? And like, why is that so hard on steel pan? It's the shape. That's the reason. And like the notes are in a circle. I don't know if we really covered that. The shirt. The Jordan Morrison shirt from the steel pan merch store. Anyway,
We'll
it's
make sure
just
we'll make sure to give him a tag. We'll get him. We'll get him.
oh, good, 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 good. He would love that. I don't even know him. I just like we've talked like once, like we message a little bit, but he's not like any. I think he's doing great things on the educational side of Steel Pan.
That's amazing.
I would keep talking about this forever, but I know we're like approaching an hour right now, and you probably have a life. Mine is Steel Pan. My entire life. My
Well,
wife got home actually at some point during this conversation. I do want to tell you this. So she goes, "What podcast are you going on?" And I was like, "I don't know, it's like DrumQuig. It's Troy and Matt." And she goes, "No, my wife appreciates music differently than I do." But she said to me, let me say, she doesn't really play music and she doesn't listen to drum podcasts.
yeah.
But she said to me, "Oh, that podcast popped up on my phone recently." And I'm like, "What? Like, what? I don't know what she listens to, what's in her algorithm,
Yes.
but you were in it. And let me tell you that from my perspective, I have, like I said, I've been posting a video every day for 70 something days. And I have to say, hey, did you see the new video? And she still says the words, where? Where did you post it? I'm like, well, you see, there's this thing called the internet, and I have this Instagram is one of the places, and I go on Instagram every single day right now. That won't last forever. And I play a different song, sometimes 2 or 3 songs in a day, and it's at Cote Percussion. That you hit this @ sign, and Cote is her last name too. And I'm like, and you could type in essentially just your husband's name, and it would come up, and then you could watch what he did while you were at work at your job. I almost said real job, but that's not fair to musicians.
We all say it. We all have our real jobs and we have the job that we wish would pay as much as our real job.
Yeah, well, I'm teaching after school lessons, and then I'm making Instagram videos for free in my house. That's my day job. But no, Steel Pen is the day job. But I just wanted to point out that she knows you, but not me. That's what it is. Now you know that
I
you
mean,
are in her algorithm and I'm not.
I don't know how that happened, but I'm amazed. So I will take it
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
I think both of us could talk for hours on end, which is why we're definitely gonna have to do this again. I think that having you
Of
back on,
course.
talking more about it, um, and I'll probably edit this part out, but people don't have an attention span anymore. And they
I
they don't watch anything longer than 30 minutes. But
or 30
sometimes,
seconds. That's why
yeah,
Instagram Reels.
yeah, and sometimes, honestly, like, the conversation just goes, and there was no way to stop you talking that would have made sense. Like, that would have been like it wouldn't have been like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, if you could stop now, that'd be great." Like, none of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like the conversation flows, you let it go. And I think you're so passionate about what you do and what it means to you, and again, that journey it's not one that I don't know anybody else who went from drummer to steel pan, like, I don't. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're out there. It makes sense, and we talked about this on prior episodes. Pianos are percussive instruments, We talk about how that changes, and I was in band in high school. I played marimba, I played xylophone, I was on the drum line, like, I did all those things, but when I played marimba for the first time and the xylophone, you were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," and I don't have to use I can use mallets, but don't use the acrylic mallets on this. It will ruin them. Basically, one of the
Right?
strongest lessons I learned. Also, if
Oh,
you string up a marimba with weed whacker wire, they resonate so much more. Pro tip,
wow. Did you use like an acoustalon or something like that, or were you using rosewood?
rosewood.
Okay. I didn't know because drum lines usually don't use the wood. They use like the synthetic And so when you said drumline and then said marimba, I'm like, is that what the weed whacker wire will do? Yeah, okay. Pro
No,
tip.
it
I
was
love
literally
that.
the marimba and learning how heavy those keys really are, when you
Yeah.
have to take them all off and put them into bags to transport the thing because you have to
Yeah.
break it down. Yeah, that was not fun, but, we were the only band with weed whacker wire on ours, but you would hit a note, and instead of the rope stopping the vibrations, it would
Right?
just keep going. So we were able to be able to carry that as long as we needed to, and then we could stop it ourselves. So that was a fun one. So not that you haven't plugged yourself, which I do love. Like, I don't think people do it enough,
You have to,
but people know where
right?
to find you. It's Cote Percussion, COTE, for all of you who aren't watching this and who will listen to it. And Instagram is basically probably your go-to, like you said, some TikTok, but the
Yeah.
Instagram's what comes up, and I think it was a few videos, and I was just like, the Streetlight one, and then 1979, the Smashing Pumpkins. My other half loves
Right?
Smashing Pumpkins, more than life itself sometimes. I love them, I just don't love them as like, there's no sometimes there's just a band that you can't possibly like or love as much as somebody else. Like, it's
Yeah.
not possible.
But
So hearing
They had Jimmy Chamberlain though. That was
Yeah,
like
who's one of the
I could do
greatest
another
drummers
hour
ever.
talk on the Smashing Pumpkins.
We will save that. Just remember that for right now. Be like, I need you to remember this like 3 months from now when I'm like, hey, come back on, come back on.
Sure.
But honestly, from myself, the DrumQuig Podcast, me and Dad, like, Aaron, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like, I learned so much, which is so cool because, again, it's never something I thought we would be able to have a conversation about. Like, these aren't like, I can't just
Right.
run into somebody in the street and be like, hey, tell me about your steel pan playing. Like, it doesn't work that way. So, thank you for bringing everything and the energy that you bring. And like you said,
Oh yeah.
just keep it up. And, I think the next time we're talking, you're going to be at that 100,000 mark. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing. And if not, I'm sorry that I said it. Like,
Let me just give you one if you're into what I do, also check out Tracy Thornton. He's got a company called Pan Rocks where I don't have a lot of cover recordings online. I have a lot of like random original stuff that I just did as like art projects
mhm.
that you should find streaming on Panoramic View. If you go look up Panoramic View or the Sunshine Melodies, I'm going to keep plugging. But anyway, but
Yeah.
Tracy has
Hey,
something called
January, February,
Pan
March,
Rocks.
April. Yeah.
That's true. The Pan Rocks company, he does amazing videos, amazing recordings. He's got entire cover albums of things like Jane's Addiction.
Nice.
I mean, we even did a video with like 100 something steel pan players, and Steven Perkins from Jane's Addiction was in the video with us. Like Tracy knows him, you know. Check
Possible
out.
future drummer for Pearl Jam here, if the rumors are
Oh,
true.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check out Tracy Thornton and Pan Rocks, and if you like rock, hard rock, he's got some amazing covers out there. You know, just he's an acquaintance that I've talked to on the phone. I've never met him in face to face or anything, but just like go check out his music if you like rock and you like steel pan and you want my videos to be longer than a minute and a half. Just go watch Tracy's videos.
Fantastic. Well, again, Aaron, thank you so much on behalf of myself, DrumQuig Podcast. It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening. Stick around and
Thank you so much.
knock out all the details.
All right, really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the DrumQuig Podcast. Thank you so much.